rejection, they're afraid to talk to a real customer. So you know what they do? They go to their family and friends. And you know what the primary job of your family and friends is? To love you. If your family and friends was that brutally honest with you, they wouldn't be your family and friends for much longer. Always ask a paying customer. It's the most common mistake we see. People never test their product. They create, they innovate some more, and it's like they do everything in their power not to hear the word no. But the show's done really well, as you all know. I've won 3 Emmys in the last 8 years, and everybody asks, what's my most successful investment? Here's the thing we've learned on the show. I'm a tech guy, and they used to try to bring tech things for me to invest in, and they realized really quickly, tech is kind of boring. Like, it's exciting to everybody in this room, but outside of this room, when you're at a cocktail party, you're usually not talking servers and storage and security, right? It's not a hot topic of conversation. What we learned is the power of Shark Tank is the consumer brand. And so now we invest in things that we think consumers are going to love. We've had products come on the show airs on a Friday. By Sunday, their sales have doubled. So this product comes out, it's called Tipsy Else. It's a lawyer and a dentist, and they're tired of being a lawyer and a dentist, they want to start a business. Sounds like a joke, right? So they do a search on one of the most searched items, they find ugly Christmas sweaters, and they match it against businesses and so on. So they say, we're going to get the ugly Christmas sweater business. But how are we going to be different? So they come out with the idea of inappropriate ugly Christmas sweaters. So look at the 3 reindeer. The other sweater is Santa peeing in the snow, Merry Christmas. They launched this company, they come on the show, they're doing $500,000 a year in sales. Everybody else thinks this is the stupidest thing they've ever heard of. I'm sitting there trying to process the information that they're selling $500,000 in ugly Christmas sweaters, all online. And the sweaters are $75. They bring them in for $8 from China. I'm trying to process the margins. Like, I'm not even listening. And then every other shark is out, and finally I'm like, sure, I'm in. $110,000 for 25%. That was 4 seasons ago. We'll do $17 million this year. All online. I should really be in the ugly Christmas sweater business, right? Not the computer business. I don't know about your margins, but my margins are nowhere that good. So I want to talk a little bit about change and speed of change in technology. So the ship in front is the Titanic. The ship behind is an average size cruise ship. So the Titanic, at the time it was built, and I always mess this up, was the largest man-made object, moving object in history. It sank in like 1912 or something like that. But look at the size of the average cruise ship, and look at the pace of change in the shipping industry. Incredible, right? Look at the speed of change there. I'm a big car guy, so lots of car analogies. This is a car called the Ferrari F40. Came out 17 years ago, had 471 horsepower. It was the fastest production car in the world at the time, went 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds, and cost $400,000. That was 17 years ago. Here's a Dodge Hellcat. Came out 2 years ago, has 707 horsepower, goes 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds if you get the special package with it, and costs $69,000. Look at the pace of change in the car business in 17 years. By the way, if you feel bad for Ferrari, this is their latest car. It's called the LaFerrari, horrible name. Came out in 2014, has 1,000 horsepower, goes 0 to 60 in 2.1 seconds, and it cost $1.8 million. And it's a hybrid. So that's my actual car. And in Canada, we have these HOV lanes. that if you have more than one passenger, you can drive in them. But if you have an electric vehicle, you can drive in them too. And you know what I love about my car is when I'm driving by myself in rush hour traffic in the HOV lane, how nice the other passengers are to me in the other cars and how they wave at me with one finger. It's so interesting. And this is my race car. Just no reason in there, just threw it in.
The Canadian flag.
The fastest growing industry in the world is the one that you're in. It changes every 3 years fundamentally. You have an opportunity that you don't have in any other industry. And you know what that opportunity is? You get to start today and 3 years from now, be the old expert. 3 years from now, you can say, oh, I remember when that came out. What other industry can you get into where the pace of change is so fast that you can start today with no knowledge, no experience, and 3 to 5 years from now, be an expert?
That's true.
If you think about it, think of this. The internet was only created in the late 70s and 80s. It was only commercially adopted in the 90s, and it is now become so prevalent. Look at cloud computing. Look at all this stuff. And you know what? We haven't even started. There's roughly 3.5 billion people connected to the internet today, and there's roughly 7 billion IP addresses. So if you think about that your mind can process that, right? Because we all know somebody with a couple of phones or a computer and so on. By 2021, there'll be roughly 6 billion people connected online and 343 trillion IP addresses. Think about that. Your mind can't process that. And you know what that means is the internet will cease to exist. It'll become electricity. None of you are going to go home tonight and call your significant other and say, oh yeah, there's a guy from Shark Tank, he was pretty good. But the lights in the room, whew! They went in and somebody turned the light on and they were bright. The only reason you would notice these lights is if they didn't work. When everything is connected, you know what that means? The only thing that matters is the stuff that isn't connected. Everything will be connected. Your car, your fridge, everything. And all of that is technology and infrastructure. As much change as we've had in the last 5 years, we're about to go through even more seismic shifts in the technology industry. But you know, when things move that quickly, what it also does is it creates a lot of risk. You know, when you're in an industry like hardware, like, I don't mean like computer hardware, I mean like hammers, and things change very slowly, you make a mistake today, you've got a long time to recover. In technology, when things move really quickly and you make a mistake, you don't have a lot of time to recover. You've got to recover really quickly. And inherently, there's way more risk in the technology business than other business. And the hard thing about risk is fear. Risk is really, really scary. And rejection is really, really scary. Who wants to be told no all the time? It is not in our human nature to be hated. It is in our human nature to go towards things that make us comfortable. Nobody says, let me put my hand on the stove and get burnt and then say, oh, let me do that again. The way we are built, we run away from scary things. It's why we've survived as human beings. It's when dinosaurs started running after us, we went, oh, this isn't good, let me go the other way. But in sales and business, it's the complete opposite. You've got to run towards risk. Most people say subconsciously, that's really scary. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to wait for opportunity to knock on my door. I'm going to wake up every day and I'm going to get ready. Because my train, it's coming down the station. All I got to do is wait for it. Well, let me tell you, it's never going to happen. No matter how long you stand on the side of the tracks, opportunity is not going to come down the road. You got to go out and you got to make it happen. There is opportunity in this world, especially in the space that you're in, every single day, but it's not waiting for you. 242. That is the amount and number of venture capital companies that Howard Schultz went to before he started Starbucks. 242. Now think about his premise. I'm going to sell coffee for $2.50 to $3 a cup. Yes, there's coffee available, and you can buy it for 80 cents and under $1. But my premise is I'm going to charge 3 times more. Honestly, I don't know if I would have got up the 241st time to do it again. Even I, after a while, will say, okay, maybe I should just get out of this. 302, the amount of banks that Walt Disney went to before he built the first Disney World in Florida. Do you know what this is? That's my beautiful race car from the other picture after I hit a wall. So I used to race cars all over the world in this Ferrari series, and I really thought I was really good. And one time I was racing at Sonoma, and I was going around the track, and my crew calls me and says, wow, that was a really good lap. You almost set the lap record. You were only like 0.03 seconds away from setting a lap record. So of course, what do? I'm like, oh, I can go faster. So I go out there again, I'm zipping around, I'm thinking, oh my God, I am so good. I don't know why I'm in the computer business. I should probably just drive cars professionally. And then, boom! Risk is hard. You know, whenever you put yourself out there, you expose yourself. And in racing, when you take that kind of risk, you know what happens sometimes? It hits back. And it's really painful. The car ended up being a write-off. I ended up in the hospital for a while. But the best benefit out of this was my PR agent leaked a video of my crash to TMZ, and TMZ ran a story about the stupid rich guy who rode off a $400,000 Ferrari and played it all the time, so it helped Shark Tank ratings. You know, the other big thing that spiked our ratings way back when was when Snooki tweeted that she loved our show. You won't believe the social media following she has. And I actually have a business with her with a company called Happy Feet, where we make Snooki slippers, and she's actually a pretty good businesswoman. But you know what? You stay with it. When you crash a car, the first thing you want to do is you want to go back out in the race car. Part of when you're driving a car, like think about this, our average speed at that racetrack was about 180 miles an hour. Top speed was about 195. And the wall is right here. Like it's not over there, it's right here. When you start racing, the first thing they teach you is when you're in danger, look away from the object you want to avoid. So if you spin the car at 190 miles an hour and the wall's right here, don't look at the wall, look at the field. Because your body will react to your mind. Your mind is your most powerful instinct. And so wherever you look, guess what? At that speed, the car's going to end up there. Right? Sounds really easy, but it takes a long time when you're going this quick and you're spinning and there's a solid object here to say, look over there. But part of what makes you a good race car driver is you believe you'll never hit a wall. Part of what makes you good at it is you have a certain amount of arrogance that thinks you're great at it and nothing bad is ever going to happen. And inevitably, something bad happens. And the very first thing you have to do is get back in the race car right away. Because if you don't, what happens is fear and doubt